Bonsoir, bonsoir. Good afternoon. Hey, Mona Lisa, how
Good
are you?
afternoon. Good afternoon, Johnny. How are you?
I am well. I am well. How about you?
Listen, I'm full of energy. I'm on the hyper side, even though I kind of came home late this morning. I was out last night because I said, listen, I'm not gonna let COVID keep me down. So I gathered with some friends in Long Island last night, and I came home this morning. But I'm still full of energy. I had 2 hours of sleep, but yet energetic.
Wow, somebody's living la vida loca.
Yeah, I'm on vacation. I've been on lockdown for too long, so I mean, with social distancing in place, though, listen, you remember, I'm still practicing social distancing. So
Yeah,
it's definitely, trust me, I definitely had my mask, my glove, the whole 9 yards. So I'm safe.
yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
You're looking good yourself, Johnny. You're looking great.
Well, what was the name of that guy on Saturday Night Live that used to say it's better to look good than to feel good? Remember him? Remember that actor that used to be on Saturday Night Live? He always said, it's better to look good than to feel good.
Yes, yes. And I'm
So
trying to remember his name. For some reason, at my age,
he
he
was
came
in that
around my
he was in that movie um Seattle. No, not Seattle. Seattle is is Tom Hanks. When somebody met oh my god, anyway, it'll come to me. But anyway, to your
It'll come
question,
back to you.
it's been a difficult couple of days. We had a little memorial yesterday for, as you know, for my best
Oh,
friend,
yes.
and
Yes.
who unfortunately passed from cancer, and of course some bad news from Haiti that's still ongoing. So we're here, we're healthy, we're alive, and I'm just happy to be with you as always, and happy to have our guest who will introduce himself in just a second. But it's always great to be with you and to be on this show and to be with this audience to talk about issues that affect our community. And so I'm glad to be able to make it yet one more Sunday.
Indeed, I always look forward to 4 o'clock every afternoon, Johnny. I wake up with Mojo on my mind, and regardless of what's going on the personal end, regardless of what's going on with the family, you know what? I gotta buckle up and put my big girl panties on and do what I need to for our community. So here we are. That brings
We are.
us with our two guests that we have here today. First, we have Fabiola Jean, who is the founder and president of Propel Media. I'm glad to have her on board with us today. She's going to tell you about herself in a few minutes. And we also have Dr. Joel Augustin, who's actually on another live right now. He's the vice president of the United Front for the Haitian Diaspora, an organization that both you and I are part of. We understand they soon will be having their annual retreat. That takes us to before we start with Fabiola. I just want to invite our audience to please share the live. I'm glad to also just to share with our audience that this week I had the opportunity to partake on the Ted Victor show, the Broward County Network, the BSN, and it was a great show. It was wonderful. Johnny, surprisingly, what happened is one of the topics, I remember that same day, I'm going to show you how the universe works. You and I were planning some future shows, and one of the topics we had was about relationships. And it was so coincidental that I was invited on the show, and it's those same very topic that we're, talking about, discussing and planning around for that same day. So I definitely will reciprocate that invitation, and Ted has already responded to that invitation on one of our shows to discuss relationships. But it was a hot topic. The
Well,
women were on fire.
VSN is an amazing group of beautiful sisters from Florida that are doing amazing things.
Oh no, you're talking about VSS. That's the Vanessa.
Oh, yes. Oh, this one is
No, but I'm
VSN.
talking about, yeah, I'm talking about BSN, B as in boy.
VSN. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes,
Got
with
it.
Ted Victor. Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So without further ado, we don't want to delay the wonderful time that we're about to spend with the founder of Propel Media. Fabiola is here with us. Fabiola, it's a pleasure to have you. Please introduce yourself to our audience. Tell them who this amazing woman that I've been bragging about is and what do you do.
I don't know if Fabiola can hear us. Can you hear us?
I can only hear you. I don't hear Mona.
Oh, that is interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it just sounds like you're having a conversation with yourself.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's an interesting. We've never had this problem, but it's always something new. But with
With
technology,
technology, unpredictable, being
yeah.
unpredictable.
Because I hear Mona quite well, and I hear you well, and you hear me, but you
Yes.
can't hear Mona. Mona can.
No.
All right. So I think well, I'll try to figure it out on my end. But in the meantime, Mona's question was, she wanted you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and this organization that you're leading. And let me just figure out what's going on with Mona's
Sure.
mic.
No problem. Well, first of all, my condolences. Um, I know that this time period is never easy to bury lost loved ones. So my condolences. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Fabiola Jean. I'm the founder of Propel's Media Mentorship Program, which is a program that celebrates and transforms the lives of young women of color who have an interest in media and entertainment. So, how did this come to be? My background is actually in journalism, and I was fortunate enough to have a few mentors, pretty much navigating and telling me the do's and don'ts to the industry because it is a very competitive industry to be in. So they were pretty much the driving force to it. So once I got onto the scene, long story short, I noticed that there was a disparity when it came to women of color in these prominent rooms. So I wanted to create a space or an outlet where we can celebrate being women of color, where we can also learn tools to help us have leverage once we are in these spaces, and celebrate that sisterhood and camaraderie as well. So this is sort of what this has been. Our signature event is our summer intensive, where we have the young ladies come in, they learn from different contributors from different fields, and afterwards we give a graduation. We host a graduation where we afford one or two of them a scholarship towards their media or academic endeavors. Ooh, I can't hear anybody now.
No, I'm sure you can hear me now. I
Oh,
had put
yeah.
myself on mute so that I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Mona Lisa, did you hear
Yes,
Fabiola?
sir. Yes, I definitely can.
Okay, but for some reason she's still unable to hear you. So um, let me see. But it's very interesting that she can't hear you, but you can hear her. I can hear you, and you can hear me. So I wonder what the I can't figure out what that problem is, but we'll work through that. Um, so, so Fabiola just gave us you heard what Fabiola said. So maybe Mona Lisa, it's just a matter of you asking question or I ask question, and I'll kind of translate for Fabiola if she still cannot hear you. Um,
Absolutely. You can also chime in. So, Fabiola, can you tell us about the current cohort? What was that experience like for the girls, for the young ladies, and what is next for them?
yeah. So Mona Lisa wanted to hear about the current cohort. You heard her?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. Yeah, she was interested in hearing about the current cohort and the young ladies that are part of this cohort.
Okay, so well, as you know, things have definitely changed because of the pandemic. So we did have to make this year virtual. We usually have it in person, so maneuvering through that first, um, and pretty much seeing what digital tools we can use to still make it an experience still worthwhile, as opposed to the previous years. So definitely expanding in that platform. Zoom has been our best friend. Um, and this is my first actually with this Be Live thing. So this is probably something else I'll be using in the near future too. But the young ladies have definitely they did not fall short in any type of way. This particular cohort, if anything, I think they brought it a little bit harder. So this was very, very, very interesting and very fun. They will be having a graduation this coming Tuesday, virtually, of course, as well. And I'm just excited. I was really excited about their assignments that they were fulfilling. And, you know, they're really hungry. The young people are really hungry and really thirsty for knowledge and to also put out there what they're looking to do.
And how do you select the participants in the program, and what's the demographic of the participants?
Okay, so it is for young women of color who are between the ages of 16 to 22. Um, we do have an interview process. We do advertise online and social media and things of that nature, but we do allow one on one interviews as well to pretty much make sure this is in alignment for both them and us. We don't encourage wasting time on both parties and both senses in in that case. So yeah, it's pretty much through that.
Okay. And are there what's the demographic? What age range? Is it mostly Caribbean, African Americans? What's the
I
mix?
I would say it's mostly Caribbean women, young women of color, who are between the ages of 16 and 22. Most of our propellers have been college students.
Okay. Okay. How many Haitians are in the group?
Oh, a
Be
number
curious.
of them. I have a total of 52 mentees. I would have to say about roughly maybe a good 30 of them.
Wonderful. A good friend of mine used to run a foundation called the Emma Bowen Foundation, which also has a focus on uh, um, really a focus on not just women. Obviously, there's an interest on women being part of it, but minorities in general who are interested in breaking into media. And I think it would be interesting if you're ever interested. Kind of, I mean, my friend no longer the executive director, but certainly a connection there.
Absolutely.
Um, could be made. The curious question: why do you think? What role do you think media? First of all, why is media so important for people who don't understand or don't see how when we say media they don't get what that means, right? So can you kind of define that for us, and then we can talk about the impact or the influence of media on our lives.
Okay, well, there are so many different avenues when you do hear the word media. There's social media, there's broadcast media, TV, news, radio. Um, so, with that being said, I believe that there are multiple ways of telling a story, so to speak, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And finding what audience that you're trying to gauge. So, with media, it's pretty much having a story and finding that audience and finding that particular platform because people do it through blogging, through writing, through producing, you know, multiple areas. It's a very, very broad category.
Okay. And why is it so important? Why is media that, why is it so important? Because it's a multi billion, if not trillion dollar business. As you say, I mean, it has so many different aspects that sometimes you don't, whether it is broadcasting that people see on television, but like, movies and social media and radio and newspaper, and, all kinds of stuff. But for those of us who are particular people in the Haitian community who do not necessarily, or just people in general who don't really think about the role that media plays in society, help us situate media in our lives.
I am so glad that you asked this question because this particular platform definitely was raised for that reason. So we're trying to change the narrative not only from the stigma of women of color being in this particular industry, but from our parents and our culture as well. You know, they always wanted us or want us to be the doctors, lawyers, and engineers because that's all we know and that's what's making money. But it's sort of us integrating that marriage of okay, this can be fun, this can be lucrative, and this can be something that you do that makes you happy as well. So this is a good a time as any to celebrate it, to introduce and to educate our culture as well on the positive of what media can do and what it, as opposed to what it has done that was negative.
Yeah. Mona Lisa, mba konen sou gen de kestyon, paske m konen ou gonti dificulte dan de, men kan men, I know you here. So maybe you can ask your question and I'll.
With the new normal, what did it look like for you guys this year with COVID-19 affecting everyone, not being able to get together? I understand you're carrying on with Zoom, but how did that? What type of deficiencies did you guys end up having as a result
Yeah, what kind of
when you
challenge?
compare the previous year
Yeah,
with the
Mona,
current?
interested in hearing the kind of challenges that you face in this new normal and this sort of using Zoom. What deficiencies you found in using a new medium as opposed to kind of being in person in this kind of work.
Well, it definitely takes away from the personal chemistry you would have if you were in person. It definitely makes the connection a little bit less as opposed to if you were. Um, but I like to spin things and make it a positive as opposed to looking at it as a negative, because we were still able to see one another and we were still able to talk with one another. So that was just a plus in itself. Um, Other challenges we faced, we didn't face too many, surprisingly. I actually said to on my board recently that I feel as though this was the most stress-free year. You're not running around to do this and making sure everything is in order. I would have to say, as we're going live on Zoom, you can't really facilitate how things go, so it might be glitches or things of that nature that are out of your control. So that would be it.
What were some of the topics that you guys discussed during the sessions?
What were some of the topics you discussed during the session, Mona Lisa asked?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we had vision boards that we did create as an introduction. We had business and professional etiquette for their practicing of their networking skills and definitely, expanding in that sense. We had public speaking and media training. We had business branding and creating your brands and elevator pitch. We had journalism, print and broadcast. And I believe we had writing, producing, and editing.
How do you
Uh,
go about selecting your panel of speakers or presenters to come and present to these young ladies? What are some of the qualifications that your presenters have
she wants.
besides?
Yep. How do you go about selecting your panels to that the speakers who come and speak with these young ladies?
Well, there are a lot of wonderful people out there doing amazing things. It's not, it's a matter of doing your research, of course. That's what I believe media is about, too. You can't just pick anybody. So definitely just doing that in that sense, reaching out to those people. Of course, being in the media industry in itself, you do have a few connects. So I definitely use that to my advantage as well. Hey, such and such, I'm having a workshop. Would definitely love if you could come share some gems with the young ladies. So that's been a help as well.
Yeah. And then they do internships, or how does that? What happens afterwards?
Absolutely. So we don't provide all of the internship opportunities, but some of the contributors that have passed through, they did offer a few of our mentees internship opportunities. Or if you just hear something from our network, we definitely put that in the group chats that we have created.
Okay. Well, I think this is something that I know Mona Lisa and I would greatly appreciate if we could talk about this. But we know for this show, we have some major changes coming in the next few weeks, uh, and working on some partnerships, some rebranding opportunities. So I think if there are young people that we can talk about this afterwards. We'd love to speak with you in terms of how to we work with some of your mentees in helping us. We restructure the show and rebrand it. This is
Absolutely.
would be a great opportunity. Mona Lisa.
Yes, indeed. So, graduation. What are you guys looking forward to? This when is graduation? How does graduation look this year?
So when is graduation? Mona Lisa asked, and what is it? What does it look like this year? What are you going to be doing for graduation?
Uh, like I said, the only thing that's pretty much changed is the fact that we're virtual. But it will be on Zoom. I will attach details. I'll probably send you guys a flyer that's coming up this coming Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7:30. And it's pretty much the same as any kind of other programming for any other graduation, except for the fact that we're not all walking in. There's no processional or anything like that.
Right, right.
I know usually the young ladies receive like a certificate, they receive their award. So, with again social distancing and the safety issues, how did you manage this year to get them their diplomas and their T-shirts and the whole package that they always receive?
Yeah. So Monalis is asking, how do you get them the packages that they usually receive in terms of their certificates and their T-shirts and everything else that's
Oh,
associated,
oh yes, I
given
forgot
social
about that.
distancing and everything else?
Yeah, that this is actually the first time that we're doing that. Actually, and I definitely forgot about that. So we did create graduation packages for them just to make them feel a little bit more, connected, so to speak. So we did include a few goodies in there, like shirts, trophies, and different paraphernalia in there, so that they can feel warm and the sentiments of Propelled Media.
Oh, wonderful,
Now,
wonderful.
my last question is in terms of partnerships, how do you partner up with other organizations and how has that partnership benefit the organization?
So how do you partner? She wants to know. Monalisa has asked, how do you partner? How do you develop your partnerships, and how does that benefit the organizations? I guess both sides. How do they benefit from the collaboration that they do with your organization?
Awesome. So we were able to, we have been fortunate enough to partner with a few sister organizations, or maybe organizations or corporations that have, or an admirable thing for us and what we're doing. It's definitely been a win-win because this particular platform serves as a outlet for the community and not necessarily just the young ladies who are taking part in it. We, like I said, our signature event is our cohort, which are in the summer, but we do host events throughout the year, and we partner with other people in that sense as well.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we have a few more minutes because we were gonna split the show into two, even though the next guest is not here yet. When Alyssa and I will do our little edit, our little and our exchange afterwards. But is there any other message you want to pass through to the audience in terms of how do they contact you? How can they be supportive to the work that you're doing? Those kinds. Any last sort of message that you want to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can definitely follow us at Propelled Media on Instagram, Facebook, the Propelled Media Mentorship Program. We're also on Twitter at Propelled Media One, and our website is propelledmediamentorship.com.
.com.
And like I said, stay tuned. If you connect with us through there, you can stay tuned to what is next for us as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Mona Lisa, I know you've heard, so unfortunately, since Fabiola cannot hear you, I will do the thinking um, for being with us today. Really, we appreciated the opportunity to talk to you about this very, very important topic, which is media, particularly women in media. I think just like we want to have a very broad representation in media, we specifically want to make sure that there are more women in media because the voice of women, in many ways, are not as represented as their numbers are in the larger society. And often, the way women are represented in the media um, is not always positive. And I think the more women that are at the table, particularly the more women that are in position of decision making, certain things won't pass. If they don't pass the muster, then somebody's gonna say, "Wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Let's just check it." So, really appreciated the opportunity to talk with you. And as I said, we'll follow up with you, if not today, tomorrow, and see how Mojo Show could partner with you and maybe one or two of your mentees in the transformation
Absolutely.
that we have going on.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, have a great Sunday, and hopefully we'll see you again next
Absolutely. Have
time
a
on the
great
show.
show.
Thank you. Monalisa,
All right, then. Yes, indeed. I'm here.
donk nou sot pale de medya. Bon, pa konen pou ki sa jodi an sistem nan soti pou l deraye nan men nou. Men se toujou kon sa, chak jou son lot bagay. E men mwen se ke bon. So wap panse lò panse de medya ou men e de rol importans ke medya gen. E kon fòm ki nan medya, ki so ou men en term de
Bon,
difficulté ki gen pou fòm ki nan medya. Eske gen sufizan?
honnêtement, honnêtement, si nous avons considéré la communauté haïtienne, par exemple, nous, dans notre communauté, pas tellement de problème ça, sous monter sur ABC, NBC, ou est grand pile femme qui dans les médias. However, dans la communauté pas noire, we need more voices as far as women are concerned. There's only but a few of us that are doing this kind of work. Et nous comprenons défi qui gagne pour lever dans la journée aujourd'hui parce que femmes besoin plus voix. So, voilà pourquoi nous apprécions le programme de la sorte, le programme de Popel Media qui prépare les jeunes filles, surtout en pile là d'origine haïtienne. Oh, so, définitivement, et nous besoin plus, comme nous dit, voix. Et femmes, ont un paquet issu que ignoré pendant des années. Société a ignoré comme si pas même existé même. So therefore, having women in this field is a need. There's a void, and then we definitely want to fill that void, bridge that gap, and encourage more young females to join. Honestly, I don't want to do this forever.
No, but let me ask you this though. I mean, that's on the. I guess there's different roles when we're talking about the media. There's kind of like, you can be a commentator if it's on the radio. You can be a writer. You can be, the editor or whatever it is. But just something as simple. Very often, I used to listen to radio in Haiti in particular, but even here, even the people on the call-in shows, I found that if you were taking a poll, I found that most of the people who called and had an opinion in the Haitian community in particular were mostly men.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that?
Of course, and which makes it very sexist in my view. And which is why I want to take this opportunity to call on other women. Don't be shy. And if you need the training, go and get yourself trained. But we definitely need more voices at the table. Like I said, the issues that we have are enormous and they need to be talked about. They need to be discussed. They need to be brought to the table to be discussed and shed light.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Mona Lisa?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very good.
Did you
Very
hear my response?
I
Did you
did.
copy?
I did. No, no.
Okay.
I thought I didn't know whether you had finished or whether there was a cut in the stream. So I just wanted to confirm. Since we don't have Dr. Joel, because I think he's still on the other event at the other event, unfortunately. Let's talk a little bit about, we can initiate the conversation about the topic. First of all, we're both members of the United Front, which is a organization that is trying to federate, to bring together Haitian organizations, Haitian social organizations that target the Haitian community, that work with the Haitian community, bring them together in a way that that can amplify our voices. And from your perspective, right, when we talk about the United Front, we're talking about, and the organization, in the end, we're talking about members of our community, right, the Haitian diaspora. Let's talk a little bit about, exchange a little bit about what that diaspora is and what role could that diaspora play?
The ultimate goal really is to try to get more of us to get engaged. And as much as we are engaged, as much impact that we try to have on the land, but we have so many challenges that we all face. And you and I can definitely speak on that from our own hands-on experience, our own personal experience. It is undeniable that had it not been for us as diaspora, had it not been for that level of engagement that we've managed to have over the years, especially after the earthquake, after the 2010 earthquake, and even prior to that, we can say that, our family members back home would not have survived had it not been for our contributions, for because we're the ones who, when it comes to paying for tuition, to even help feed, bring food around the table, because we already know the condition of the country, the economic conditions of the country are not suitable enough for families to survive. So definitely our families depend on us for everything. Now, going back to the earthquake on a higher level, okay, had it not been for the engagement of a lot of regional organizations, a country where there's a lack of healthcare, we have a lot of our doctors who have been engaged. They responded to the call from 2010 and up until now. A lot of them are still on the ground providing healthcare. So more than ever, we realize that, look, we need to get engaged despite the challenges that we receive, despite the disappointments that we receive. And we said, wait a minute, had it not been for this diaspora, trust me, things could have been worse. Nap di bagay yo mal konye la, imagine yo si nou fe kole, nou di bon, nou retire tet nou, trust me, things would definitely get more chaotic than they are right now.
Yeah,
How do you feel? That,
well, I'll play the devil's advocate on this one, and I am struggling with this. I am struggling with this, and there's sort of the right brain, left brain kind of thing, right? Sort of intellectual
Mhm.
and emotional aspect of what we think about. Um, the the studies in economics have shown that when people are in a situation of dependency, uh, then it creates certain negative habits behind in them, right?
Mhm.
And as a result, uh, it keeps people and those very conditions that the person is helping, would want them to get out of, right? And so when you say if the diaspora wasn't there, um, the a lot of folks, the situation would be worse than Haiti, and I think we all kind of agree that that's true, and we haven't really experienced the counterfactual, meaning we haven't experienced what it would be like if indeed there was no diaspora, right? It's kind of like that movie, A Day Without Mexican, right? In the United States. Like, what would you have you seen that movie, like A Day Without Mexican, and all the streets are empty, and
Mhm.
there's no one delivering food, there's no one watching the kids, there's no one doing this, that, and the other. So,
Of course.
so um, I do wonder whether it is a disservice, right? And I do wonder whether if the diaspora wasn't there, whether people would whether people would survive or not.
I doubt it very much. Knowing the reality again of despite, you know what? When you think of it, there are a lot of resources on the ground. However, where is the leadership? There's a lack of leadership, and we can't deny it. You also got to take the factor of the country suffering from brain drain, right? You have a lot of us who are very savvy about certain things. And those of us who are living here that have studied, a lot of our wishes would be to go back and serve on the land to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make Haiti great again.
Right.
But is Haiti ready for us? That's the question we're all asking ourselves. Um, I remember after the earthquake, a lot of young people, millennials, oh, you back in there by the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were very attracted. They're like, you know what? How do I give back? My parents are of Haitian descent. I want to go. I want to help. I'm Haitian. I'm Haitian, right? And they go down there only to find out that years later they're coming back so fast because they're not able to put up the lack of infrastructure of the country, the lack of security. Uh, you know, you have social issues. They just can't deal with that. They tried.
Yeah.
Now, what do you tell them? You yourself, Johnny, have lived on the ground for 10 years after the earthquake, and here you are back.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you respond to that? How do you sympathize with those young people who probably started their career? Some left their jobs to return to Haiti and try to serve on the land. What do you tell me personally, who was very adamant, who was very gung ho about Haiti, Haiti, Haiti. Let's go to Haiti. Let's. I mean, I'm still there, but virtually so. But I don't feel secure to go back, and be there physically.
Yeah.
But
I'd say,
my heart is still there for some reason. So
yeah, here's what
that's
I
why.
would say. Here's what I would say. I would say to you that the lesson that I've learned is that you can't help anybody who doesn't want to be helped. And
Mm,
I think many of us in the diaspora have a savior complex. I think many of us in the diaspora believe that we have the solutions, that we have the competence to help the country move forward. And I realize that, in fact, and this is going to go back to the earlier question that I asked in terms of, are we helping really when we send remittances to Haiti, money back to Haiti, or are we not helping? And the economic terms will come to me. There's a very specific term in economics that explain the kind of attitude that create in a person. Um, but I'll tell you this: I think that it is a mistake that many of us make to assume that, when I hear about the brain drain, well, guess what? Haiti's still going, right? Brain drain or not, Haiti's still going. So the idea that we have the brain is out, presume that as a result, the country would fall into the ocean and disappear. But it's not. There are educated people in Haiti. There are maybe enough
of
educated
course.
people in Haiti. No, I don't mean to be kind of, but I want to make it like a real dichotomy, right? And the idea that many of us in the diaspora, I mean, I believe that, you know, we as citizens have the right to go back, right? That's one thing. But the
Hmm.
assumption that the brain is out and therefore for change to happen in the country, the brain has to go back in, um, I don't think holds water. Similarly, to go back to the earlier question, on va quitter aussi, non? Parce que question était vraiment, vraiment important. I could argue with you that, not with you in general, that if the diaspora decided today, no more, which is never going to happen, but we're just going to play along, no more,
Mm,
right? What all of us say, oh my God, the country would fall, right? And then I would say, well, okay, this is 2020, and we have technology that can allow us to kind of be more creative and do certain things, which our ancestors think about it in those terms. In 1804, had that blockade, no exchange, and had to survive off of what they have. You know what happened? We're here. So that means they survived. And I
mhm.
want to argue that if the diaspora had basically said, you know what, we don't have any more resources, we can't send any money to Haiti, I will bet you a penny to a dollar, Haiti would be just fine. And you know what would happen? People would find ways to survive, would go back to the land, will go find creative ways to be productive, and productive people who did not want to do certain kind of work because they have dati, they have uncle, they have mommy, daddy who send some money, would find productive work to do. I would argue that the revolution that we need to see happen in Haiti, which is not happening because we're keeping people at a minimum of suffering, right? The pain threat, would they ever reach the pain threshold? And I would argue if we stop supporting what's happening, the revolution that needs to happen would happen. I don't know. I'm being very sort of, okay. I saw
So,
some comments. I see Jimmy made
so
a comment here that says they would survive. In general, people have survival. I put my glasses this week because last week I couldn't read the comments. People have survival instinct, and most of the time they have a better life without support because they take responsibility for their existence. In the contrary, unconditional support and continuous help tend to handicap people. Yes, without the diaspora, people would better survive in the long run. So, okay, so I
So
think
you want to remove the scaffolding basically. You think the diaspora is just there as scaffolding, but they do have what it takes. They have the resources. Peut-être see if the complex that this generation has, they put all of that aside. Parce que tout haïtien ont paquet complexe de supériorité et d'infériorité à la fois k'ap kale yo. OK. Ou fin graduate université. Est-ce qu'on ap d'accord? Would you agree after you graduate from school, okay, to go back and put that in cultivateur, par exemple?
it's interesting you
Pendant ce
ask
temps,
that.
il n'y a pas de ce métier, il n'y a que de cette chance, but guess what? Est-ce qu'on willing pour petit tout al travail la terre? Est-ce qu'on willing pour dire, bon, et quitter m'investi pour, pour investir dans bâti maison, par exemple, okay, dans construction?
No,
Would they be willing to do that?
I don't know.
Would
No,
your
no,
attorney
but
be willing to do that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the argument is that if the diaspora is not there, everybody's got is going to go work the land. I'm not sure that's the question. First of all, today, what happens if you follow the money, and I'm not the one making this argument. It's an economics argument that even the Central Bank of Haiti has shown. The money that comes in just transit through Haiti. It creates no wealth. It creates no added value. In other words, the dollar that is sent to Haiti comes right out of Haiti, either in food,
Okay.
clothes, and everything. And my argument is if you didn't have that source of income and you needed to make it work, then you would not be, because you wouldn't have the external resources to be buying things in dollars, right? So you would be creative locally. And I'm arguing that we have the brain power to be creative locally, right? And but what happened is, and this is where I think it causes a negative. The fact that people have that money coming in, it it suppresses their creativity, right? Because people will
Mhm.
survive. It's a human instinct. They're not gonna die. I can guarantee you that. People are not gonna die. They're gonna survive. And people get
Hmm.
very creative. And so yes, some people would work the land, but guess what? We have thousands of agronomes who are doing nothing. Those agronomes would partner because je dis, pas aller. Si pas m'envoyer comme moi, je suis agronome dans l'école, mais je pas le travail. Mais si je pas de comme cap rentrer, et je suis agronome, je pas le travail, je pas le partenariat, I would work in collaboration with the farmers to make the land more productive, right? But it's
Now,
not
are
just
they
the land.
programmed? Are they programmed though, Johnny? Are they programmed from attending school? Look at the appeal family qui Haiti qui gen moyen c'est ici on veut petit yo vin l'école. So do you think they would agree now for them to send those kids back
Who?
and
What
and and, and,
percentage are we
and
talking about? I mean, we're talking about an really small. I mean, we're talking about what? Not even the one. It's a 1%, maybe the 1.5% of the population. That those people who are able to actually send their kids to study university here in the United States.
Yeah, but then again, you also have issues of security. That's a challenge for a lot of our young people. Also, they feel like their lives are at risk. Yo senti la vie ou en danger, obligé partir, al Chili, al Brazil. They rather go and die elsewhere than pour rester dans misère noire ça que nous dans pays. Okay, why is it that a young graduate qui sa lwe pou le faire, c'est tout c'est dans politique qui veut rentrer pour y aller voler. So how do you explain all of that?
No, look,
Because they find that that's the new mean of survival.
which one?
I'm saying pour fin quitter l'école, bon, c'est politicien pour y aller faire.
Mona Lisa, there
That
are,
seems to be the message on the street for a lot of them.
but Mona Lisa, we have a country of at least 11 million people, right? We are talking about what? 90 senators, right? 150 deputies, 140 multiplied by three mayors. Kazakh, they're not making much, but I'll put them in. So we're not. Again, when we say they're gonna get into politics, we're talking about 1,000 posts. I mean, it's not even. It doesn't. What are we talking? The problem with politics is that those thousands are stealing millions.
Uh-huh.
That's the
So
problem.
this seems to be the only reliable income in their views.
No, but
That's
it's
the
not.
word on the street for them.
It's almost as if we would make the argument that the only way for a black male to make it here in America is to be a basketball player, a football player, right? Or one of those two or three things that make millions of dollars very quickly, or a rapper. That's the one I was
How do
talking
you then now, Johnny, reprogram people to think differently? How do you change those tendencies?
You don't have to. The reason people are programmed this way is because they have a fallback. And I'm arguing that if you pull out that fallback, and this is a intellectual exchange, but I would argue that if there was, so you talk about security, for example, if there was no other place to go, because look, at the end of the day, the diaspora's remittances, it's a third of the country's GDP, right? $3 billion.
I
And
agree.
when you have, right, I mean, the economy altogether is 8 point something billion, right? Next door, it's 10 times that with the Dominicans, right next door, same population, right? So I'm arguing to say that if you continue to hold people's hands, and not only are you doing a
Crippling them.
right? It
Hmm.
Because whether it is the question of security, whether it is the question of creativity, any one
So
of
let me
those.
ask you this, Johnny.
Hmm.
Johnny, let me ask you this. So how do you then change the paradigm? How do you change that whole conversation, that whole mindset to bring back the order that is needed? So we now, as diaspora, we can remove the scaffolding, we can remove the support, we can remove that little bit of life support that they think they need in order to survive.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? So now we're getting into the more sort of the reality, the realism of all of this. How could you move from theory to practice? And I think as we sort of link this with the conversation about the diaspora, I think that the way to do this is for the diaspora to begin to think about how do we leverage what we have, right, for productive activity in the country. And this is the biggest problem that we have. I gave a talk in Florida a couple of months ago, and I said, those of us in the diaspora are actually the reason, in many ways, why the country is the way it is, right? And part of my argument is that you basically removing the creativity, and you're removing risk taking. If I am a young person in Haiti today, I have the option of, let's just take the extreme, which I don't believe that's the case. Go back to work in the land, or stay home, play domino, and wait for my transfer to come? Which one do I take? I take the transfer. It's human nature. It's natural. Now, let's just say I receive the transfer and I receive it to for food, for clothes, for school, for everything else. What incentive do I really have to do something more productive? If we want to change something, I would argue that as diaspora, we need to say, how can we make our limited dollars more productive? So one thing, as an example, is how about the money that we send to Haiti, even though it's going to cost a little more, we spend it on businesses in Haiti that are focused on national production. It costs a little more to buy local rice. But when you buy local rice, that money, it rotates in the economy. It goes to
Makes
2,
sense.
3, 4, 5 hens, right? And if I'm willing to shift my thinking and say, maybe I can't do all of it. Maybe I can't say I don't have all the services right now because I don't have the basic necessities. Although for most of the basic necessities, we have local production. We make rice, we make corn, we make piti meat, we make oil, we make tomato paste. We make the basics, right? If there is a market, which is the diaspora, who's saying, I will be buying these products, I will be willing to pay a little extra for these products so that I can stimulate the local economy, then all of a sudden you begin to have local, creativity because you have people looking at these markets and saying, oh, there's money to be made here because the money is locally made, locally spent, and it goes through 4, 5, 6 hands, right? As opposed to what we have today, which is I send $1 to Haiti, and that dollar they buy American rice, American clothes, Japanese cars. But like literally, the way an economy works is the number of times a dollar cycle through, right? So the
Right.
more a dollar goes, the more hands the $1 goes through, the more value that dollar has. Versus in Haiti today, maybe a dollar goes through 2 hands. You send it, the person takes it, and they go to the market, they buy what they need. What they need came directly from Japan, the United States, Taiwan, Brazil, the Dominican Republic. You know, um, 10 years ago, I argued, don't even, you know what? And I wanted to be not I wanted to be controversial. I was giving a talk to some folks, and I said to them, you know what? Instead of paying extra money to Western Union, why don't you just send the money to the Dominicans and they'll send us the food? Because that's what happens today anyway. Let's just cut the middleman. Just give the Dominican the money and they'll send the money to your family in Haiti. Et Wasonje et bon compagnie transféré to commencer. They still do that, don't they? The transfer companies. You could actually send rice, oil.
Of course.
You could do that, like, right?
Of course.
And so
Yes. Yeah.
those food, those drums of food, quando eu achei, c'est
You
pas
see?
ici. Donc dollar tout est là.
Hmm.
Ou pas dollar va même à Haïti, il tout est là. Yo
Yeah.
tout acheté
Yeah.
timia, tout acheté pois, tout acheté l'huile, tout acheté, et puis yo juste voyé l'Haïti. So Haiti benefits nothing. Nothing.
So how do you change all of that though, Johnny? How do you break that cycle?
So this is
Okay.
the work
To
that this is the
revert
work.
people back to the original idea of unpromoted production national. And let's go back to the basics that would
Mhm.
strengthen our own economy.
Well, first of all, I mean, I think there is a level of there is no oblige sensibiliser mon. This conversation
Hmm.
needs to happen. I think we've not had this exchange as a community. We've not, first of all, done the work to help people see the impact of their action. I know I can't change someone's mind by just saying, don't send money to Haiti. I know that that's not going to happen. But I do believe that I have an obligation to help people understand what happens when they do send money to Haiti. What happened when they send food to Haiti?
So here's my question, Johnny. Now, how do we redefine the role of the diaspora in as far as their engagement in the country? Now, because from what I'm understanding now, you're asking to remove the scaffolding, remove, the babysitting. You know
Slowly,
what? Let baby walk by himself.
slowly, yes. Just like a baby crawls and then, you know, it walks and then it runs like, when they grow up, like Hussein Bolt. It needs to be done gradually. Uh, but I think we have another show in terms of the engagement because I there are different types of engagement. For example, I would argue that rather than sending money, for example, if I'm working with young people, I would rather be working with them to help them be more connected, whether it is about new technology, learning about new ways of doing things, exposing them to things that can help them be more creative, um, giving them the tools, and
Hmm.
at some point saying, I can partner with you to help you find the capital to create something, right? Versus sending you the money. And
Mm.
what we do today, we do it reactively. And I think honestly, and after 10 years in Haiti and a lot of time thinking about this, I have to figure out a way to write this succinctly and find a way to kind of talk about it more often. I'd love for us, through the Mojo Show and other means, to have a community conversation. Are we really having an impact, or is this a disservice?
This is a conversation that I'm definitely interested in, Johnny. I think both you and I have experienced that level of frustration as far as our engagement is concerned, as far as our experiences over the last beyond 10 years, 12 years. Okay. Personally, I kind of feel like a lot of my efforts to engage or participate or contribute is I would not say in vain, but the impact that I was hoping that it would have had, it doesn't have. Okay. So again, we need a redefinition. We need to redefine our role. We need to redefine engagement. What would it look like once we take into consideration that the methods that we've been using are not working? So let's try to look at some new avenues together.
Yep. Yep. And this is the thing, right? I think that it is easier for you to get something done when somebody recognizes the need of what needs to be done. And what I mean by that, if I have a particular skill set and whatever it is better if there are people in Haiti who are thinking about it and who are saying, wow, we really want to do X. Let me see who I can partner with. And they land on me and say, oh, Johnny, I'd love for you to talk to us about this thing that we are working on. Versus the opposite. Me, who says, I have this skill set and I know it's needed in Haiti, so I'm going to go bring it. Nobody asked me. I just decide that this is the thing that they need. And so I'm going to bring it. And the mindset of those two things, in terms of the place you want to have the impact, is very different. It's very, very different. Somebody who says, you know what, you have this experience and I'd like to work with you so that I can learn, is one thing. The other, and as a professor, it's very didactic, right? I mean, you go into a classroom and the kids have to listen because you're the professor and they're They're there to learn. They have an obligation. They have no choice. When someone is an adult, you can't do that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's why you find that adult learners are more motivated at times, right? Because they're there
Of
for
course. They
they
know what they want.
they know what they want. They
They're
know
there to
how.
maximize on what they're looking for. Yeah.
Exactly. I worked through schools. I wasn't interested in, I mean, I partied anyway, but I wasn't interested in getting drunk and doing, I was working and paying for school. So I was there like, look, I need an education. I need my
Same here, brother.
diploma. I need my
You're preaching
diploma.
to the choir right now. I'm
Anyway,
gonna get my money's worth.
exactly. Anyway, well, I think this is it's five actually. It's 5:03. And Jimmy, thank you so much for all your comments. Last comment I think Jimmy says is that we're not saying for the diaspora to not send money in Haiti, but we can't send 2.5 billion that will be shared with the Marchand in Haiti without creating any sustainable value to impact the country in the long term. And that's, we need the diaspora, and we need a sense of directing and creating value. That's the thing. So so that's the beginning, I think, of a conversation that we need to have more of.
In conclusion, Johnny, I want to say something that would support your view. I think I used to get in the habit of sending money to a lot of my family members on a monthly basis. And last year, with two of them, I decided, look, I'm going to give you a lump sum. Go start your own business and don't ever call me again unless you're simply calling me to ask me how am I doing, or you're calling me to just to talk. But it's not going to be about money ever again. And I wanted to cut the umbilical cord. And yet you're finding that they're telling you, well, because of the political unrest in the country, volete passe, kidnap it. So I think there's another layer to this that we didn't get to touch today. But like you just mentioned, in future shows, we'll look at some of the challenges, some of the obstacles that people face on the ground, that would stop them to pretty much go down that avenue that you would love to see. Again, we may move the scaffolding monetarily, but I think the human resources would still be needed. I think sharing the exchange of experience and knowledge would still be needed. How do you change the mindset of a country that's been running under corruption? How do you change? And are you going to wait for a change of leadership? It's so much that we need to talk about that we can't embrace in one show. But again, I know between the two of us, we
We'll,
can
we'll, we'll touch on that.
set the priorities,
Let me
definitely.
just give you one small anecdote. Let me give you one small anecdote. When I talk about we are part of the reason we are feeding the corruption in Haiti.
Mm,
Let me give you and we'll leave on this. You do know where the government makes the most money, where they collect the most money, right? Do you know? You
go
what
ahead.
you want to guess? Give me your guess.
From different projects that we bring, that's brought to the country when there's a disaster,
No, no, no. On a
most of all.
regular basis, where the government collects money. I'll tell you, since the time is over for us. It's the
Go
port.
ahead.
It's the ports. The place that
The
is
douane. How about the douane? Okay. La
douane,
douane.
customs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, customs is the place where the government is guaranteed to make the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a fight
True.
for who controls the customs. Okay, it's not the grossest, the largest amount of tax money collection income that the government gets. C'est pas sous taxe que moun paye sous caille. C'est pas sous income tax. C'est pas sous, it's none of those things. The largest component of tax collection is on the import. As a result, we cause production to be reduced in Haiti because the place where people have incentive, where they are guaranteed to make money, is on import. So everybody has a reason to increase import. And as you increase import, you destroy your local production. I'll leave it at
Mm.
that, but we'll have more conversation on this. We'll have more
That's
conversation.
another big can of worm, brother. That's another big can of
But we
worm.
need to. This is what we do in the Mojo. We need to open a can of worm. We need to open a can of worm.
I'm
So,
not afraid. I'm not afraid.
and I'll maybe when we do this the next show, I'll bring the numbers so that we can have a better conversation. That is,
Definitely. I definitely love the stats.
yes, I'll bring the
I love it.
stats that we can look at those things and see how they impact the country. Anyway,
Indeed.
sister, it was
Did
a
we leave
pleasure.
any unanswered question from your end,
A
Johnny?
lot of comments. Oh, Alan Valsi said, he said, well, he thought on the question that I asked whether it was we were getting money from NGOs or phone cards. No, no, not at all, not at all.
Yeah, that's why I
There,
had said projects. Same thing, the NGOs. That's what I thought. That's where I thought,
no,
the big chunk of money was coming from. Because listen, from experience, I can tell you, we have a couple of colleagues of mine have bought major projects down there, and the first thing you hear is, "What's in it for me? What's my cut?
let me tell
What's the
you,
cut
Mona
for the
Lisa.
government?"
In
Huh?
NGO revenue in our small, tiny economy of $8 billion, NGO NGO plus international community annual donation to Haiti averages $350 million. The diaspora sends 10 times that,
Hmm.
3 billions, nine
Wow.
times. Wait, so who are we talking about? Well, we gonna blame the NGOs? No, NGO money is like 300. It's a drop in the bucket. The real money stays with us, but we keep forgetting. We seem to not realize the power that we have and the role that we play in this. Jimmy also asked whether it was the phone cards. No, no, phone cards is not. First of all, phone cards is sold, um, in the United States, and so Digicel gets a cut depending on what deal they cut with AT&T and T-Mobile, but that's not where the money is. On the money, the 5 cents the government collects, the $1 they collect, that's a nice income because they don't have to tell anybody about it. They keep it to themselves. So for people in government, it's a nice little chocho. But in terms of real money coming to Haiti, the real money coming to Haiti that makes the economy run, it's around the $3 billion we send to Haiti on an annual basis, probably more. Parce que ou connaît des bons moun pral Haïti ou voyon 100 $200. The 3 billion is accounted for officially through official channels. When we actually send it, dog.
You still got a response from that active organized at BAH as far as the $1.50 is concerned. So, and that's another show.
That's another
We,
show.
we do
That's
have
another
to bring,
show.
we do have
So
to bring the show to a close.
we need to
We want
bring
to thank our friend
yes.
Em for being with us this afternoon. And we're hoping that you have a great week. And we'll see you around on Sunday, 4 p.m. It's Mojo time. So next time, same place, same station. Facebook Live on The Mojo Show. On behalf of Johnny and myself, thank you and have a blessed week.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody who commented and who watched the show. Have a great Sunday. Bye, Mona Lisa.
Bye-bye, Johnny.
Wherever I go,